Adventure in Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Like a teardrop in the ocean, or a needle in the hay, a blade of grass on a prairie, or a star light years away, a grain of sand in an hourglass as time slowly slips away, mundane thoughts with my shadow on a wall painted gray, but I found hope.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio, and I'm here with our next guest, who are some killer artists, and they're brothers, and I love that. We're going to talk about that. So let's welcome to the show, Shavrock. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you so much for having us.
Hey, my pleasure. Now, first of all, the first thing I want to say is, how do you get your beard that long and that tame that long? Because like my beard, okay, at this point already, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to trim it back down because it's all over the place and it's a pain in the ass.
This is years of practice. No, I don't know. I lucked out. Good genetics. Just after the shower, I brush it and shampoo, and that's it. No oil, no nothing.
That's it. That's
it.
Like I talk to other friends of mine, are like, they tell me all the work they gotta do. I'm like, screw that, man.
Right. Oh man, it's so easy. I lucked out.
There you go. I love it, man, because that is a badass beard. Like if I grow a beard like that, of course, I think it's like your hair too. Like I've had hair down the middle of my back, and getting past that middle stage is the hardest part. And I think it's the same with my beard. It's like I get to a certain point, I'm like, yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, pretty much.
You just got. I think it's like I should have just grown it during COVID, and then I would see what happened.
Exactly. Yeah.
So something else I noticed. Okay, so I didn't even notice till right before starting the interview, but I was looking at the notes and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, which is spelled right? Your last name or the name of the band? And then it's like, oh, what an idiot I am. Of course that's what it is, you know? And so, like, it's funny. I'll bet you have people in interviews, they already ask this stupid question all the time, but they probably ask, well, where'd you get your band name? And they can't figure it out because it's two different spellings, so they probably can't figure it out.
We've had that. Yeah, great observation. We've honestly had that, I don't know, a bunch of times. Yeah, already. And we just thought it was like a cool, unique thing to do and to sort of use both names.
I know, right? It's perfect.
Yeah. And what we did was actually, this is a CD. I don't know if you could see. So we did the O and the I, and to incorporate both. So it's a Shavrock and Shavrock.
Oh, that is cool. What a great idea. I love
Thank you. That was actually Nick's idea.
Nice. And so I just have to ask, okay, because I would never in a million years be in a band with any of my siblings. I know my kids would never be in a band with any of their siblings. How the hell do you do it?
So honestly, growing up, we were very close in age, and we pretty much did everything together already. So we had the same friends, and when we started playing, he started playing guitar, I started playing guitar, and so we were always just like jamming and stuff like that. So it really did just come naturally.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I know the point you're getting at. It's like, when you're working with family, it could be a challenge at times. That's still, there's still that brotherly love that definitely happens throughout many moments. But I'm grateful for our relationship. I'm grateful for the what we both bring to the table, and it wouldn't be the same. There's a certain element that we have that's because of the fact that we're brothers. We have, we sound different, but we have similar sounding voices. So it's like, the harmonies, all the harmonies on the record are actually two people. It's not me harmonizing with myself. So there's that element. So,
it came natural, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's way cool. And
Mhm.
one of the biggest benefits I always think of is at least you can trust your other band member. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I don't even know if I could say that for my siblings, but in
Right.
general, you get, but I think about it, like I have this one brother. He'll probably never listen to this interview, so I could talk shit about him anytime I want. And he always used to say when we were younger, like when I say younger, not kids, but younger, like I was in my late 20s, he was in his early 30s. And he's like, I'll always be 6 years older than you. I'm like, big shit. That don't mean shit. I'm married with 4 kids. You've never been married. I run a business. You work for somebody. Like, I don't see how the 6 years is making a difference, but he always did. And I think he still always does. So what would happen is be that hierarchy in
Mhm.
the band, like I'm the older brother and what I say goes. And now
Mhm.
we'll take something that's recent. Okay. I started rewatching the Osbournes after Ozzy died
Mhm.
because I'm like, I don't even remember it. I gotta watch it
Yeah.
again. And I could never see Jack and Kelly being in a band together. Of course, they have a very tight relationship. They love each other to death, but they're
Mhm.
just two totally different people, and they would probably kill each other if they were in a band together.
I think we lucked out that we have a close working relationship, and we sort of can, I don't know.
To make it work, you
Yeah.
know?
You treat
Um,
each other as equals, is the way I look at
Yeah.
it from what you
Yeah.
said.
yeah.
Absolutely. We both sing. We both play lead guitar on the album, actually. So it's an interesting mix.
Yeah, we definitely approached this as a partnership going into that. We kind of had to have that mentality.
Yeah.
That really was a benefit to everybody.
And everyone brought something different to the table. Nick would write the songs. I would come up with these very melodic guitar lines that would go with the songs. And so, as Ron would always say, it's like baking a cake.
Right, exactly.
Right? And I
Mhm.
love too that you both play guitar, you both sing. Because usually when you have bands, when there's brothers in it, it's like somebody has to pick one instrument, somebody has to pick the other. And
Yeah.
sometimes it comes down to who pulled the shortest straw.
Mhm. Right. I think we both kind of went into our positions kind of by happenstance, but I mean, I didn't really anticipate being a lead singer of a band. I always thought I'd be like, just lead guitarist in a band, kind of not in the background, but not everything just like on you, But I kind of got like pushed into this position based on I wrote all these songs and then Akiva and I started playing them and then he started singing harmony with it. It kind of just happened on its own. And it was the way that it was meant to be. And we kind of just moved ahead with that. But what's kind of cool about our style, which I think is pretty unique in terms of the different elements. Certain elements may not be unique in itself, but all those elements together is something quite unique. Our producer Bumblefoot, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, kind of would describe us as if you can imagine like those Simon and Garfunkel-y softer harmonized vocals, but then you have like those driven heavier guitars from like the 2000s, like Creed or Three Doors Down or Daughtry type of thing. And then you add
Right.
in some Scorpions harmonizing guitars and then some really
Like
Slash,
yeah.
or Zach Wild type of guitar solos. It's all of that that is Shavrock, which I don't think really exists till now.
Right? Well, and it's way cool. And I tell you, I have to give you credit too. So to me, singing and playing guitar is hard enough, but singing and being a lead guitarist is really difficult. It's like,
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know, you gotta be on point for both of them and
Mhm.
It's a
and
good point.
no
Yeah.
no laying back,
Right.
you could be a rhythm guitarist and like lay back and sing and you know the chords so it's easy and stuff.
Mhm.
But the focus on the right notes both in the lead guitar and in the
Mhm.
singing, man, that's amazing.
You hit the nail on the head. I tell him that all the time. um, yeah. So, I mean, one of the things that people don't know is we didn't talk about. I think, like, even when we just kind of like did credits on the record, it was just like, okay, Akiva lead guitar, Nick guitar and vocals, and also put down him as vocals. But the reality is, in hindsight, we probably had the same amount of solos on the record. So, for example, I have 2 standalone solos where it's just me. He has probably similar, and then the other solos are are a joint solo. So, for example, one of the songs, "Burning Sky," he takes the first half of the solo, and then I'm the second half of the solo. And
I
"Bring
love
Them
that.
Home," it's the same thing. He's the first half, I'm the second half. On "Dazed and Confused," I'm the first part, he's the second part, and I take it home, and I'm the third part.
It was a cool
So,
cool way to really just bring both of our styles together.
and then Bumblefoot has his own 2 solos.
Yeah.
On "Amen" and
Kaleidoscope.
"Kaleidoscope."
Yeah. Now, how does that feel having him produce your
Oh.
album and play on the album? I mean,
It's the most
A dream come true.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. A dream come true. Anyone who plays guitar knows obviously about Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and he was always a legend in our minds. And I mean, I still can't believe it that I pinch myself that we worked with him. But more than that, we became like very, very close as friends and family, and we're spending hours and hours in the studio together. And for him to produce our album was just really such a blessing.
Yeah.
and I'll even add that he gives you guys kudos. Like when somebody like that tells you you're good, like, I don't know,
Yeah.
you kind of don't believe him, or
Right.
or you're
Right,
like,
exactly.
oh my fucking God, how does he think we're good?
Yeah, that's kind of a good point. We talk about it every once in a while, just like the most challenging part of the whole process is playing guitar in front of him. That's honestly the most,
Right?
because you're working your way through a solo, and in your mind you're like, all right, Ron will do this in 2 takes, and it's done, and his is perfect. And here we are trying to fight to get it right. So that's like the intimidating part. I remember like there was the only, like, this is probably for me like my most memorable moment in the whole recording process. I remember I was laying down my solo for "Burning Sky," and I'm doing this one piece. I didn't really anticipate to do it. It was like this really fast like blues thing, and then Ron goes, "Holy!" Like I remember him like just going, "Holy F!" And I'm like,
Yeah.
to me that was like that made my whole life. Like coming from him, and he's it wasn't anticipated, and it's on the record, that piece. That's exactly the take. But it was like this amazing thing, and um, yeah, because to us he's the best of all time. Like there's no such thing, honestly, but to us in our minds what it means to be the best, because like you see the stupidity of people arguing about guitar players and who's better. It is all your opinion. It's not, because it's not about the Olympics. It's going to be about opinion, who's more melodic, who does something cooler. It's silly. But what makes somebody great is, besides the versatility, is like the feel, the melody. This guy could play faster than anybody I've ever seen, and he's the one who told me. I think he told Akiva too in the studio. He's like, "You got to slow down." I remember laying down this one piece, and
Wow.
I'm
Yeah.
flying, and like I'm actually playing it too fast, that it was actually slightly out of time. I was getting ahead, and Ron says, "Listen," he's like, "You're gonna lose people." I remember that. I'll never forget that. He said, "You're gonna lose people." He says, "When you are putting a solo in a song, it's about writing a melody, a guitar solo that is singable." And
Yeah.
we really understood that through this process. That's why if you look through this record, especially now, and I know the songs, obviously, I've listened to this record many, many times, but I know every lead line. I could sing it because each lead line is singable. It's not just crazy shred stuff. It really isn't. There is some nice shred in here, but everything is tasteful.
Yeah, majority of them are just super melodic.
Super melodic,
and
yeah.
I love hearing that, and I'll tell you why. Because to your point, you take some of the great shredders, and I take nothing away from them.
Yeah.
But after you listen over and over again to the songs, they get old or boring because
Correct.
it's like the same thing, and it's really not about the melody, it's about the shredding.
There's
I
no
want-
sweetness there. It's a lack of sweetness,
Yes.
and that's what makes it, I think, an amazing player. There's a song actually he did. I think it's from his album "Little Brother Is Watching," and there's a song called "I Don't Know Who to Pray to Anymore." I think he wrote those songs actually when he was in GNR, and he was maybe even going to do them with GNR as part of a GNR record. Not really sure, but so it definitely has that type of flavor a little bit in it. But
Right.
he wrote such an unbelievable solo. If you listen to that song, it's a pretty long song, but his guitar solo is like the most melodic thing. He basically waits kind of to the end of the song before he completely lets loose and then just melts your face off. It's so sweet, everything that he does. And that's what his skill is. His skill is understanding and creating the most beautiful melodic music. And people wouldn't really think that that's him, like, because he does very, a lot of his other stuff is very obscure and interesting type of music, and he can do everything.
Yeah, and I love what you said at the end, because it's
Yeah,
like he gave you something first, and now
exactly,
I'm gonna shred.
exactly.
It's basically the way I look at it,
Hmm. Yeah.
And something else too, I relate to, and it also relates to your album and what you guys are about. I'm also a motivational speaker.
Oh,
So
cool.
when you were talking about, playing in front of him, it's kind of like I've shared the stage with some of the biggest speakers there are that were mentors of mine since I'm 11 years old.
Oh,
And when I know in the beginning, when I knew I was on stage and they were like sitting there watching, in my mind, I'm like, oh, fuck.
yeah, yeah.
Basically, it's like it's the audience didn't make me nervous.
Right.
And then even in this, okay, so I've actually interviewed DJs from Sirius XM. I've
Hmm.
interviewed Ricky Rackman, and like interviewing people like that, I'm like thinking, are they judging me while I'm interviewing how good I am? Like it's one thing interviewing a band. It's another
Right.
thing interviewing somebody that's on your level or above your level in the same industry. And you're like, I wonder what they're thinking right now while we're
Hmm.
talking. So
Right.
I totally get what you were saying. Now,
Yeah.
the other thing is I love that Hope found me.
Mm.
Because I'll tell you what, especially in 2025, hope needs to find a lot of people.
Hmm.
Okay, because
So
I don't
true.
even know where it went.
Oh my God. That's the reason why the record is named Hope Found Me. We actually could not. We tried to get away from it for a second, and including Ron, he's like, it's got to be Hope Found Me.
Yeah.
We all were in consensus on that, in agreement in that, because
It's too powerful of
of a
a
message.
theme and
Yeah,
message that went pretty much with every song that we composed and put out on the album.
it's what everybody needs in their life, because if you don't have hope, you have nothing.
No doubt. And that's how, like, I've learned from talking to people through the years, that's really where people go down a bad, dark place, And one of the things, if you take prisoners that go to prison, like, they tell prisoners to let go of hope because hope will
Wow.
destroy you in there. And I'm like,
Wow.
what the hell? You
Yeah.
can
Right.
never let go of hope.
No.
Hope is what drives you. Hope is what gets you to where you're going. And hope is what keeps you positive. And that's what I love about your music. In a world where music a lot of times is negative, I love artists like you that put that positive spin on it because music is the best therapy there is.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
so is positivity.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
So true.
have you guys always been like that? Have you always had that kind of positive mindset and you just brought it into the music?
It's a good
Or did
question.
the music do it for you?
That's see, that's really spot on. I like that, that you
Right?
touched upon. Um,
It was like a little haven for you, right? In a way.
so there was a couple of things I can say. One is that for me at least, being hopeful at times can be a challenge.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. So I definitely strive to try to be positive in my life and to be hopeful and try to look forward to things. Yeah, I definitely strive for it. There's no question, but it is a challenge at times. With that being said, there's something I kind of had like an aha moment. Maybe it was actually in an interview that it just came out the tip of my tongue. I didn't really intentionally say it, but sometimes you write songs for things that you need to hear.
Yeah. True.
And
So
I
true.
realized that, and because I read a lot about concepts, Some songs have a lot of me in them. Other songs really don't have any of me really in them. It's more about ideas of how to help people. And that's why lyrically, I like to write songs about concepts where, a person could be down at the bottom. And how do I help that person see a different perspective on things and on life? And that's why I write songs about it, because hopefully it can help one random person. You know what? I did my job if I helped or saved one human being, because if that
1,000,000%.
person, that's it. We actually had this random girl message us on our Instagram, and she said, "I hope found me. Before I heard that song, I did not have hope.
Wow.
And now I do."
That makes
I
it
was
all
like,
worth it. That
A
makes it all
hundred
worth it
percent.
right there.
I couldn't believe it. I said it to my brother. I'm like, you can't take this stuff for granted, because you realize what success is, and that is success. All the other stuff is just fluff.
Yeah.
Money and fame, it's all fluff. It's wonderful. People appreciate it, but that's not what it's about. It's
No.
just not.
And you know what? The fact of the matter is usually those moments happen when you are doubting yourself, when you are down, and then you get somebody like that comment to you, and you go, "That's why I'm doing this."
Yeah. Mhm.
You know, it's definitely those aha moments, and it's funny too because it made me think of a story just happened recently. This girl I've known for like 16 years. We're like BFFs, and we met on a joke. Okay, that one of our other friends did this joke on my radio show. You're gonna laugh, but this girl wanted me to do a dating radio show, like the dating game, and I
Mhm.
would be wearing a mask to prove that if I couldn't see what they look like, I would stop picking hot young psycho girls. And it and so she was one of the contestants on there, and I did end up picking her, and she was hot and young, younger than me at the
Uh-huh.
time, but she was so positive. That's why I picked her. And recently we were hanging out, and I dug up the recording of that radio show from like 16 years ago. Okay.
Wow.
And we're listening to it together. And I knew she needed to hear it because she was in a real hard time in her life, and things were looking pretty dark. And that radio show reminded her of who she really was,
Oh wow.
because
That's a bomb.
she was like, "Oh, I need to be that girl again." Because she was like so positive. Every answer she gave was like this optimistic, hopeful, positive thing. And it was a good feeling that she could listen to that again and realize where she's lost. Because
That's the
we all
other
get
song.
lost.
That's our first single, is that premise, is The Boy I Used to Be. So I don't know if you're familiar with
See?
that song, but it's the same concept where, well, it can go two ways. One, the opening line is, "Today's the day I will make a brand new start."
Yep.
Picking up the pieces of a puzzle. I can't remember the words. A puzzle I completed that I just tore apart. And the song is about reflecting back on life, to basically say, when I was a child and I was looking at growing up, and I always thought I was going to be whatever you're going to be. Let's say somebody wanted to be an astronaut, and then all of a sudden here they are in their 20s or in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and they look back at their life and they're like, I wonder if that little kid who sees me now, would he recognize me?
Yeah.
And that was the idea of the song, because I actually was thinking about myself, like just as a little kid. I remember sitting in carpool, just thinking to myself, I'm like, I wish I was grown up, and I wish I could be whatever it was. I don't remember what I wanted to be at that time, but that concept. And we may be getting older every day, but every day is a brand new day, and it's a
Yeah.
brand new day that you can do something new. You could become somebody different than you are, and be whomever you want to be at that time. So same
Totally.
concept of what you're saying, looking back at something that of a time in your life that maybe you were the person that you wanted to be, and maybe you lost that. You can still go back and try to emulate and be that person.
Never
And
too
it's
late.
still there. It's
Yeah,
still there. It's
still
somewhere
there.
inside of you. I found that
Exactly.
out too because before we had all this social media and stuff, I was on that classmates.com, and
Mm-hmm.
my girlfriend from like 13 years old messaged me on there, and she's like, this is before we had like stuff we could do on our phone and stuff.
Mhm.
And she goes, I still have the birthday card you gave me
Wow.
when I turned 13. I'm like, yeah,
Wow.
right. Scan it and send it over to me. You know, it
Uh,
wasn't like she could send it in her phone or anything.
right.
And I looked at this thing, and I have this habit in cards of like writing on the whole left side of it. And
Mm.
I did it, and I read it, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, I would do the exact same thing today. And all it did for me, it was like Ghost of Christmas Past. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, that is core me. And that's always been core me. And a lot of us forget that. A lot of us forget
Mhm.
that some of the things of who we are have always been us. We just, society, people, things that happen in life buried it deep down in us. And we need that wake up moment like that to realize it's still in us and bring it back.
Right. It's very deep.
And that's what music's all about, in my opinion. Like your music, your type of music, you know, it allows people to do that. It
Mhm.
allows people to sit there and forget all the other crap in the world that is affecting us negatively, and be able
Yeah.
to go back inside ourselves and find that kid that had all the hopes and dreams that people when they get older say, give up on that, give up
Mhm.
on this. And it makes you realize, no, never give up.
Right.
Right. It's exactly true.
So true.
So, what else do you guys want to say about the album, or tell people about how to connect to you on socials, get the
Yeah.
album, get merch, and all that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are on
Deco Entertainment.
Deco Entertainment, and that's sort of been a blessing being able to work with Bumblefoot. And because of that, now anyone who really like who's I guess an artist under Bumblefoot
Right.
is represented by Deco.
They
And
distribute all your merchandise, your music, the physical stuff. If you want a physical CD,
we got it over
we
here.
have a Shavrock CD that you can buy. Actually, it's got a really cool
I
disc.
love the colors on there.
Yeah,
That was the colors were a big deal. It took a little bit before we got it the way that we wanted, and that's the actual CD as well.
That's
So you can see
so
that.
cool.
Yeah, we're actually we were talking about this actually in a
About
actually
the vinyl?
yesterday, and we were gonna consider maybe doing a limited edition or limited run of vinyl. We're gonna kind of wait a little bit, see what kind of we'll feel it out, see what kind of requests we get, and maybe do a limited
but
run.
the cover's so cool. I think it would look amazing
The
on
cover is really cool.
It
If you
would
look at
it would
vinyl.
look awesome on vinyl. And you know
Yeah.
what that cover reminds me of? It
Hmm.
reminds me of a Journey album.
I know what you're talking
Oh
about.
yeah.
We're
Right?
we're huge Journey fans.
I saw them. It was first concert I ever went to besides Beatlemania, but I don't count that because it wasn't actually the Beatles. But
Uh,
I went to see Journey and Loverboy in 1979.
Oh gosh, you're so lucky.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was pretty awesome.
And if I actually think about it, Neil was a big influence on our playing in the sense of
oh yeah.
being so melodic. And I haven't thought about that in a while.
Yeah.
Wow.
How like in
We don't
Who's
give him
Cry-
enough credit.
Right.
Actually.
Yeah, it's very true. Like if you listen to like the song Who's Crying Now, and he's playing that melody as the main solo, and it just and then he obviously goes into this quick shred, but he was so brilliant. Oh man, it just so like reflecting on that, I realized how much of an influence they did have on us too, you know?
Sure.
Look at that.
It's,
Look at how I just brought that up.
yeah,
Too,
it
like,
really is
out of nowhere.
It's crazy. And yeah, and with regards to our social medias, if you throw into Google or whatever search engine, Shavrock and Linktree, you'll get all of our Facebook, our Instagram, our Spotify, our Apple Music, and you can stream all the music, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Nice. And so that's cool. I love what you guys are doing. I love not only your musicianship, but the message you're giving, because
Thank you.
it's needed more than ever nowadays,
Oh,
even
yeah.
for the most positive of us. Like I travel, do coverage at festivals here in the US, UK, Europe, and every
That's
time
awesome.
I leave this country, I come back and I'm like, oh my God, is all hope gone?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like, and it's not about any side or anything. It's just about everybody. It's about like, what's wrong with the world right now and the thinking on all sides, man. And so thank God we have people like you that are bringing hope back so hope can find us all.
Correct. I wanted to say, so based on what you just said, there's a song on the record called Empty Cup that is literally describing the crazy world we live in.
Yeah, I
It's
turned on the news today.
the opening of the song is I turned on the news today. My eyes can't believe what they're seeing. To some people, life is just a game of pawns, kings, and now victims. That's the
Wow.
opening of the song. The whole song it goes on, talks about the world. It's what a silly world, what a crazy world.
No doubt. Wow.
Yeah. And the chorus was talking about, kind of just turning a blind eye to things. Is sometimes we're blind with our eyes wide open.
Mm,
Sometimes the truth is we just choose to look away.
that's brilliant because it's
Yeah,
true.
it's a powerful song. You should give it, if you haven't heard it yet, give it a listen. It's a really powerful song. The message is
That's
there.
how Ron sort of describes.
Yeah.
One of the things was he write very deep, or Nick writes very, very deep, meaningful lyrics, and it's so true.
I think
Really.
it's important for lyrics to be like that. That's why I like the kind of music I do, because I don't want to hear music that has no pertinence to,
Yeah.
that deep feeling inside and the therapy that we all need. And by the way, one of the next festivals I'm doing, you guys should be playing at, and that's Bourbon and Beyond. You know that one?
No.
But it sounds great.
Check it out. Check it out. You would fit in perfect. It's a Danny Wimmer festival. Most of his are like rock festivals, but this one is rock, but not heavy rock.
Right.
Blues, bluegrass, country,
Wow.
all that kind of stuff mixed in. Like this year, you got Fish headlining, you got Ringo Starr, Pat Benatar, Switchfoot.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, Blues Traveler. I can't believe I almost forgot that because I'm
Saw them
looking forward to that one.
No. But yeah, those are all great. It's funny. We grew up on Pat Benatar. I have to tell you. So
Wow.
my dad and my mom
My
loved.
dad had probably still has her vinyl stuff. It was all on vinyl, Fire and Ice, all that good stuff from back in the day.
Wow.
Always,
Look at that.
and he's an underrated guitar player.
Emil Giraldo, again, another influence you don't think about.
Right.
Emil is a huge influence on us in terms of like some of his solos they wrote. Again, very, very singable lead lines. Almost all of his solos are.
I think some of the greatest guitarists are the ones that people aren't talking about.
Right.
Everybody talks about the obvious ones, but even okay, Eddie Van Halen, everybody knows about him, talks about him, but I think there's a lot of guitarists that nobody even knows that probably blow him away. Not that he's bad.
Yeah.
It's not that he's bad. It's just a matter of there's such talent out there.
There is.
It's amazing the kind of influences you can have, and it's great that guys like you have those kind of influences, because I think that's what makes a musician unique. If they follow after the ones that everybody knows, then they usually sound like the ones that everybody knows.
Yeah. Everybody's just trying to be a clone of the guy that they love,
Exactly.
And then you lose.
We were really blessed to have been influenced by so many great bands, especially classic rock and the 80s and all that, which was obviously before us, but we grew up in the 90s, but at the same time some of our favorite bands.
Well, that's like me. I grew up with older brothers. I had two brothers that were 11 years older than me, and so I would dig into their record collection, which was all like 60s stuff and then 70s stuff, and then I formed my own. And I think that is a big difference of back then compared to today, is all of us from back in those times, it was like a foundation that kept being built on. For me, I was listening to all that great 60s stuff, but then I fell in love with Zeppelin, and then I fell in love with Sabbath, and I fell in love with the Grateful Dead, and then I fell in love with Metallica and Slayer. It's like all these different transitions, and they all are part of me. And I think a lot of kids today, they're not getting those type of influences. You know, they're getting
Yeah,
this
it's fun.
the
It's
most
funny
recent,
growing up. Yeah, growing up in Carpool, my grandfather would play for us John Denver all the time,
right?
and a band called the Seekers, I think from the '60s.
Maybe 50 then.
Yeah, and it just and that I think altogether, as you're saying, that slowly built the foundation. Then obviously being exposed to Guns N' Roses at a young age, and and then obviously once we, whatever in our teenage years, Metallica, and then Alter Bridge and Creed and Three Doors Down, all those bands, and it just sort of all just came together.
Well, it's funny because we were just at a Creed concert. We actually just had 2 Creed concerts this past
Nice.
year. But Creed was well, when we were growing up, Creed was like the biggest thing. Creed was just, Mark Tremonti. One again, talk about underrated guitarists. One of the most underrated guitarists
Oh,
ever is Mark
he's
Tremonti.
amazing. He's a
The
friend
thing
of
that he's
mine.
written-
He's actually interviewed my grandson. Like my grandson was interviewing
Whoa.
him, and he interviewed him back.
Oh.
He is a cool
Wow.
dude. But what a guitarist! Oh my
What a
god!
guitarist. He's written some of the best intros
Yeah.
to songs in history. I don't think there's anybody who's written as many, memorable, intros to
Between
songs.
Creed and
Yeah,
Alter
and Alter
Bridge,
Bridge.
yeah.
But what I was going to say is, what was interesting is you touched upon, the way, like, when we were growing up, we have all these different influences now. There's not as much stuff. But the interesting thing was at this concert, he said, if this is your first Creed show, raise your hand. And like, it turned out that the majority of the people that were there were in their like 20s.
Wow.
There's been a crazy college resurgence. I think like Higher Recharted or something.
Or something through TikTok.
Through
or something
TikTok.
crazy.
It's
They
because
got
of
something-
TikTok for sure.
Yeah.
There was some resurgence. I think Higher started charting again, and all of a sudden now these teenagers and
Like,
early 20
Right.
people in college, they're all literally jamming to Creed. I'm like looking at this kid next to me, he's jamming to Creed, little frat guy. I'm like, what is going on? But it's amazing now. Maybe now with TikTok or whatever, that older bands are becoming relevant again, and then people could kind of appreciate the great music that already was. And
I
hopefully
think a lot
that'll-
of it's coming back too. Like,
Yeah.
So you have bands like Rival Sons or Dirty Honey that are bringing back that musicianship
Yeah,
and kind
sure.
of rock music from the 70s type of
Yeah.
vibe,
so
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah, I love that.
It really,
Yeah.
really is.
which
Super.
is great because like I'm a metalhead, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm a metalhead that also loves blues and loves bluegrass and
Uh.
loves 60s music, 70s music. And you find a lot of metalheads nowadays are in some ways more gatekeeper than we were in the 80s. But then there's the others out there that are discovering stuff. And I also mentioned it earlier. I think it's totally cool that, kids are going to see bands that the dudes in the band are 60 years old. Like when I was
Yeah.
a teenager, I went to Metallica's first show ever. You would never catch me at that
Wow.
age going to a Metallica show when they were 60, like,
Right.
like I'm their age. I'm a
Right.
couple years younger than them. So that's why it was cool. Like, hey, let's go see all these bands that are our age,
Mhm.
but my generation would never have like gone to see them if they were 60,
Right.
so it's kind of cool nowadays. Or these kids that are wearing Misfits shirts, but they actually know who the Misfits are in their song.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for me, it was like that was one of the reasons why I wanted to see Journey, because I'm like, these guys are probably close to 70 now. And
Right.
also Def Leppard, growing up, that was probably in our top 10.
Yeah,
And-
Def Leppard's still just as good.
And they were amazing.
ridiculous.
And these
They're
guys
so
are like probably 70 or they're upper 60s. And like I have to tell you, I saw Styx like a year ago. Unbelievable. Like Tommy
Yeah,
Shaw,
amazing.
it's just amazing. It's just it's
Well,
just and you know who really blew me away? Toto. Those guys are still singing and it's just, oh my God.
I actually interviewed them. Well, here's a trip. I actually interviewed the Grassroots, and none of them were the original members.
Whoa. I think foreigners like that.
No, now they're totally like that.
Yeah.
Now there's nobody left.
Right.
Yeah.
And even the replacement singer just retired. The replacement of the replacement, he's just retired.
I know, right? It's kind of weird to me. I mean, keep the
Yeah.
thing going, but like it's kind of weird when you're interviewing a band that nobody's the original member,
You're
And-
right.
But yeah, I mean, there's so much cool shit like that. Like I just covered Hellfest and Scorpions played. And
That's our
and
favorite
oh
band.
my God, I've seen them so many times in my lifetime. And I'm here to tell you, I was freaking out because they were so good. You know,
Yeah,
because
it's crazy.
they're
That's
so
one band we
old.
really want to see.
Oh,
Really.
they're so old and they're
They're so
so
old.
good.
It's
And
so good.
and I was talking about this earlier or yesterday with an interview I was doing that somebody who played with Michael Schenker.
Yeah.
And I literally said straight out, I'm like, you know, I think Rudolph fits the Scorpions better than Michael did. Like,
Oh, for sure.
you know, he just blends in with it. And he was up there smiling the whole time,
Yeah.
like having a blast.
Mhm.
And even Ozzy's final show, which I knew that was going to be the final. Like I knew, I said years ago, Sharon kept trying to make Ozzy retire. I'm like, if he retires, he's going to pass away. But that
Wow.
final show, I've seen him every year since 1980. That's the best I've heard him sound since probably the early 80s.
Wow.
He was so good, you know.
Yeah, it's a remarkable thing to see, honestly. And for us, that Ozzy was a huge influence on us, especially the No More Tears album with Zach. And to see that like in Mama, I'm Coming Home, that was very emotional, honestly.
Oh, no doubt. And check this out. I saw Randy Rhoads.
Man, you've seen everyone.
Oh, I saw Ozzy 3 times in 1 year with 3 different guitarists. First it was Randy, then Randy passed. And Pat Travers played like 1 gig, and then Brad Gillis came on. So that year I saw all 3 of them.
Did you ever see Jake? What was his name? Jakey Lee? Yeah.
Yeah. Like I've seen Ozzy every year since 1980. Like so I've seen it all. I think Zach is the closest to Randy for sure. You know, as far as his style and how he and the relationship there too. But yeah, I mean, you name it, I have seen it. I like, and I'm getting a bucket list moment at Bourbon and Beyond because Ringo Starr's playing. I was a huge Beatles fan as a kid, and I'm like,
Wow.
oh my God, I hope like there's not many times I've done over 3,000 music interviews. There's not many times that I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm interviewing this person. I am praying that I get the interview with Ringo Starr because that will be the weirdest shit ever. Like that'll be
I hope
like
you get it. Really, that's amazing.
like, oh my God, I'm interviewing Ringo Starr. I don't even know if I'll be able to talk. It's because I was a drummer when I was a kid too, and him and Peter Criss were the people that like I idolized as drummers, you know. So it'd be like, wow, you know, I'll say to him like, you're the reason I sucked at drums because I couldn't do what you do. But next year, you got to tell everybody they need to get you on that festival because you guys would fit right in.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna. We'll talk to Bumblefoot. Maybe he could pull some strings or something.
There you go. And I'm putting it out there right now. Like that's what I'm doing. Like maybe Wimmer will listen to this and bring you on because he is like that. You know, the guy that runs all the festivals here in the US, he's totally like that. So there's this band, Silly Goose. Okay. They're a punk band that they did the old school punk thing. They showed up to one of the Danny Wimmer festivals and they crashed it and started playing in the parking lot. Like they had a trailer and they got in their trailer and played in the parking lot. And Wimmer was out there watching and just stood there and watched. And the next day he put them on one of the real stages.
Wow. That's
like,
wild.
You don't have shit like that happening anymore. Like it did.
Where's it located? This festival?
Louisville.
Okay.
It's bourbon.
Oh, yeah.
Bourbon.
Yeah, we're bourbon guys, so it makes sense.
Oh yeah. Well, there's a lot of bourbon, a lot of whiskey, and a lot of gourmet food. Like they have celebrity chefs. It's not like your typical festival. Because you're in bourbon country. You know? And it makes for fun interviews because a lot of times the bourbon distillers, they ask me to do the interviews and have the bands taste the bourbon or the whiskey, and it makes for some fun interviews for sure.
I can imagine. That'll be really fun.
It kind of changes halfway through. Like, you know, it's like you have the normal party interview and then it hits. halfway through the interview.
That's awesome.
Well, you guys rock, and
Thank you
everybody's
for
got to
having me.
check you out, get your new album, and man, I'm glad we got together because the
Yeah.
world has now has found some hope because hope
Yeah.
found you.
That's correct.
Yeah.
There
That's
it is.
correct.
And
Yeah.
hope
Thank you so
found,
much.
hope found me now that there's real musicians out in the world once again,
Thank you.
and not AI musicians.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. Thank you so much. It's been a blast, really.
Well, thank you for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.